Hi, I'm Julian Kolsut, and I was asked by Charlene Thornton-Joe to read a bedtime story, so I picked one of my favorites, The Legend of Guava Bear. It's about a bear in Hawaii. I can't wait to read you this story. On the island of Oahu in Hawaii, there once lived a young, carefree American black bear. He lived on an animal farm in the Nuuanu Valley on the foot of the Koolau Mountains and was a very clever bear who was trained to perform special tricks. He was gentle and funny and always made children laugh with his silly tricks. Because he loved to eat sweet, juicy guavas, his friends called him Guava Bear. He would smack his lips just imagining the sweet, juicy taste of guavas, the guava's luscious pink filling. One morning, Guava Bear awoke and lazily stretched his arms, expecting to feel a familiar tug on his leash, which was tied to a stake. Snap! The leash broke. Guava Bear raised his eyebrows and wondered, then grinned as he looked across the yard at his little friend Plumeria Bear, who he called Plum. She was curled up near her stake, snoring softly. He thought, I can walk, I can skip, I can run, I can find guavas. Chuckling happily to himself, he skipped across the yard to Plumeria. Plum, Plum, look, my leash is broken. Plumeria sat up, rubbing her eyes. Guava, what happened? I don't know, Plum. I just did my morning stretch and the thing broke. Here, let me pull your leash. Then we can run into the forest and gather guavas. No, silly, Plumeria explained. We can't go into the forest. It's too scary. Oh, come on, Plum. Let's go. It will be so much fun. I can't, Guava, and you shouldn't either. Mr. Johnson will be mad. I'm only going to go find guavas. Oh, I can taste them already. Plumeria sighed. Well, if you must go, wear this lei for good luck. She placed a Plumeria lei on Guava's head and said, Hurry back, Guava. You bet. Then, with twinkling eyes, he waved and disappeared into the forest. In the forest, Guava stopped here and there, looking for a sign that would lead him to guava trees. His super sensitive nose sniffed the air. Where are those guavas? He grumbled. Climbing a tree, he scanned the horizon. Yes, he yelled when he spotted a bright yellow splash of color in the distance. Tumbling down the tree, he hurried in the direction of his favorite fruit. Guavas, he bellowed and ran towards a nice sturdy tree with dozens of ripe yellow guavas hanging from the branches. At last, he sighed, scooping up a large guava from the ground. Breaking open the fruit, he licked his lips over and over before swallowing the delicious guava pulp. After a while, his tummy was full and Guava Bear felt tired. He lay down to rest on a bed of soft leaves in a nearby bamboo thicket. This is so comfy, he thought, and so quiet. Soon he was fast asleep. When he awoke sometime later, he looked up to the beautiful moon shining through the bamboo. Yawning, he rolled over and thought how comfortable he felt in his new bed. Tomorrow he would return to the farm. The next morning he awoke and ate a breakfast of guavas. I wonder if there are more guava trees close by, he thought. It's time to explore. Over the next few days, Guava Bear was so happy in his new home. He spent time searching the forest for guavas. He found delicious blackberries and roots to eat, and each night he returned to his special bed of leaves in the bamboo thicket. Then, one night, he heard a voice in the distance. He ran towards the voice and grinned when he recognized his little friend Plumeria. She was tied to the stake at the edge of the forest. Guava Bear, Plumeria called over and over. Hiding behind a large hibiscus bush, Guava answered. Over here, Plum. Guava, Plumeria whispered. Are you all right? Why haven't you come home? I'm having too much fun, Plum, he whispered back. But why are we whispering? Mr. Johnson is waiting for you, Guava Bear. He wants you back. Well, I don't want to come back, Plum. I like living in the forest. But aren't you scared? Plumeria asked. No way. Why don't you join me? Oh, no, Plum said. Her eyes widened. I'd be too frightened. There's nothing to be afraid of, Plum, he said. Let's pull up your stake. He began to walk from behind the hibiscus bush. No, Guava Bear, keep out of sight. Plumeria warned. "Mr. Johnson plans to follow you back to your hiding place and catch you when you fall asleep." Guava Bear slipped back behind the bush. He was confused and disappointed. "I better go, Plum. I'll be back to see you soon." "Bye, Guava Bear," Plumeria said with a tear in her eye. She worried about her friend being left alone deep in the dark forest, and she missed him. Guava Bear followed the secret pathway back to his special place in the bamboo thicket near his favorite guava grove. Over the next few weeks, he roamed the Kalau Mountains, forgetting about Mr. Johnson's plan to capture him. Near a new grove of guava trees, he found a bluff which overlooked a highway, and he sat watching cars pass by. Feeling bored, he picked up 2 guavas and threw them in the air. "Aha!" he grinned. "I can still do that trick." He grabbed another guava. It dropped on the ground. Squish! Gradually, he added another and another. Soon, he was having a great time standing on the ridge, juggling guavas. The loud blast of horns disturbed his rhythm. He looked down to see motorists stopped on the highway, pointing at him. He bowed quickly and fled back to the forest, fearing someone would tell Mr. Johnson. Remembering Mr. Johnson made him think of Plum Bear. He gathered an armful of guavas as a gift for her and headed for the animal farm. He saw Plumeria sleeping peacefully in the sunshine. Hiding behind a bush, he rolled the guavas one by one towards her. Plumeria sat up, rubbing her eyes. As Guava hit her in the back, Guava chuckled out loud. Smiling, Plumeria looked around, knowing who was nearby. "Guava Bear, are you still there?" she called softly. "Of course, silly," said Guava Bear. "Who else would throw guavas at you?" "Well, stay where you are," Plumeria said. "Mr. Johnson is getting really upset. He can't find you. He asked a search and rescue team to help him. Oh, Guava, I'm really scared for you." "Don't worry, Plum," said Guava Bear. "No one can find my secret hiding place. I just wish you would come with me." "I cannot," exclaimed Plumeria. "I'm too much of a scaredy cat. Are you really happy living in the forest?" "Plum, it's the greatest place. I have enough food to eat every day. I can find new and exciting places to visit. I'm even practicing some juggling tricks." "Shh, listen," warned Plumeria. "Someone's coming. Quick, you better go." Guava said a quick farewell to Plumeria Bear and slipped back to the bamboo thicket. The next day, while exploring, he discovered a banana farm. He picked a ripe yellow banana from a hanging bunch. As he peeled away the skin, his nose began to twitch. A familiar smell caught his attention. "Honey!" he exclaimed. "I haven't had honey in so long." Peering around the trunk of the banana tree, he spied a row of little boxes. The smell of honey was stronger than ever. Carefully, he stepped towards the little boxes. With his nose, he tried to open one of the boxes. Zzz! A swarm of bees flew around his head. Guava growled and tried to hit one with his paw. Then he heard a loud shriek. "Hey, it's a bear!" A nearby lady closelining was pointing right at him. Even with all the buzzing around his head, Guava heard the lady shrieking some more. All the buzzing and shrieking made his appetite for honey go away. He turned around and ran back along the ridges to his very secret place in the forest and settled down for a nice long nap. A loud whirring, chop, 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 woke him. Curious, he climbed a tree to see what was making such a strange noise. From his perch, he saw men cutting their way through the underbush. Plumeria was right, he thought. Suddenly, the whirring sound grew louder, and a large helicopter hovered near the trees. Guava Bear saw Mr. Johnson leaning out the helicopter. "There he is!" yelled Mr. Johnson. Guava Bear ducked and grabbed a hanging vine. He swung to a large koa tree and clambered down. He wasn't frightened. He knew the team and Mr. Johnson would not be able to find his place deep in the bamboo thicket. He ran to the ridge but couldn't see anyone. "Grrr!" he growled loudly, but there was still no one in sight. He shrugged his shoulders. "They're gone," he sighed. "Oh well." Just then, 2 of the workers appeared, covered up to their necks by thick underbrush. He waved at them and ran back to the forest, darting in and out of trees, until he felt quite dizzy. He tried to stand on his hands and walk upside down. With a loud thump, he landed on the ground. "Over there, that's him," he heard someone shout. He laughed to himself and rested for a while. Everything became very quiet. Guava looked around. The searchers seemed to have disappeared, and the horrible noise of the helicopter was gone. He strolled down to the stream and spotted 2 of the workers filling their water bottles. Poking his head around a tree, he uttered a long grrr. The searchers jumped with fright. They dropped their water bottles and took off. Guava Bear laughed and laughed. He wondered if the searchers would return. "But I don't want to be rescued. I'm happy in the forest hunting guavas. There's so many guavas. I could spend years and years finding new groves with bigger and bigger guavas. Sure, I miss Plum and even Mr. Johnson, and I'll pay surprise visits with them every now and then. But for right now, and tomorrow, and the next year, and the year after that, I'll have fun finding guavas, and I'll have even more fun eating them." And so Guava Bear lived happily ever after in his special guava groves in the Kalau Mountains. Thank you so much, and sleep well.